The following is a production of the Ultimate Fantasy Sports Network.
Hello there and welcome to Inside UFLB, episode number 15. My name is Dean Millard, the head of baseball operations for UFFS and co-commissioner of UFLB. It is a massive, massive day for us. I'm on the road in Regina where we're getting set to do the live broadcast of our 26th round veteran draft. We'll only be doing the live broadcast for round one, but we have a massive announcement to make that we're going to get to in just one set. Well, we've already made it if you've seen the press release, but we're going to dive into it a little bit more. This show is presented by Ultimate Franchise Fantasy Sports and broadcast proudly on Ultimate Fantasy Sports Network. So what we have coming up for you on the show today is big news that we are going to dive into. The partnership between UFFS and the APBPA, the Association of Professional Ball Players of America. We'll tell you all about it. As well, former Major League pitcher Kameron Loe will be joining us on the show. He is the president of the APBPA. The veteran player draft we will preview. We'll have some franchise reveals and our top five and our question of the day. If you'd like to learn more about our partnership, you can head to the news section of UFFsports.com and you can read all about what is happening with our partnership and who it will impact. It is very, very exciting stuff that we are going to discuss throughout this program. It's going to help the franchise owners. It's going to help a whole lot of players, past, current, and future, and so much more. And then we're going to get to some cool franchise reveals. We're going to talk about the draft this weekend, but let's get right to it now and dive into this partnership. Well, I've been looking forward to having this conversation again. Kameron Loe was on Inside UFLB a while ago when he became our second digital athlete. Of course, he's a 9-year Major League Baseball pitcher. He pitched for the Texas Rangers, went to the playoffs with Milwaukee, had stops with the Cubs, the Mariners, and the Braves. He's also the president of the Association of Professional Ball Players of America. And that's the huge partnership we announced earlier today. Showed you the press release earlier. You can check it out in the news section at UFFsports.com. But we're going to dive deeper into it. And he's the GM in our league with the Panthers, as mentioned, as well as a digital athlete. So, Kameron, you're very busy and you're already well ingrained in what's going on with the platform. But tell us a little bit about, first of all, the Association of Professional Ball Players of America. Who are you guys?
Absolutely. So the Association of Professional Ball Players of America is a 98-year-old 501c nonprofit that has been the humanitarian side of baseball for the last 98 years. We obviously have our century mark coming up, our 100th anniversary, so we're super excited about that. And we're extremely excited about our relationship and our partnership with the UFFS. What you guys are doing is just so cool. First on the blockchain, and we plan on being a big part of your Legends League. I think that'll be really cool when you guys drop that Legends League. And so I kind of wanted to just show you how big of a piece of history this association is, and what kind of members have been a part of this. We've got the absolute Mount Rushmore of baseball that has been our members and sat on our board. And so here's the first one, and I'm hoping that this camera is a little bit better. And let me know if you guys can see the name right there. And you might be able to see it a little bit easier right there. But that is a dues card from George Herman Ruth, saying that he paid his $10 of dues in August 1st, 1927. We've got Nolan Ryan, Ty Cobb, Mickey Mantle, Ted Williams, let's see, Honus Wagner, Satchel Paige, Jackie Robinson, I mean, I'm just holding all of these dues cards that proves that these guys paid into this thing, and were, amazing ambassadors for us. And so yeah, we've been the human side, the humanitarian side of baseball for almost 100 years, and we're really really excited about partnering with you guys, and you guys are going to be helping us to make sure that we can go another 100 years and beyond.
Wow, first of all, I can't wait to see those guys in the Legends League, just like yourself and Ian Kinsler as part of our digital athletes. And also, I can't wait for that NFT of the 100th anniversary, 2 years away. I mean, baseball's creeping up on 150 years of history. You guys have 100 of that, and you have to be one of the oldest organizations in baseball. Now, who benefits from your organization? Current players, former players, and how do they benefit?
So former players, and we're getting really heavily into the youth. We want to make a major impact for basically the entire family, the entire baseball community. Historically, we have been as an association that helps out basically anybody that has played one professional inning, and that's major league, minor league, and independent ball. So we help guys that are in the Pecos League, the Atlantic League, and I'm learning more and more about the history of professional baseball, and there's been like something like 30 something independent leagues in the past, and some of them petered out, and some of them are still going strong. But we basically help the entire professional baseball family and their families. And so what we're working on is not just expanding our legacy of helping people when they need a leg up, and one of the things we do is like bridge a gap for guys that maybe needs some grocery money, or need help paying a medical bill, or they fell on hard times and they need help making their mortgage, or whatever the need is. But we're going to have a major focus on our youth now as well, because if we can get resources to the youth and get them to be educated financially, to be financially literate, get them with a trusted financial advisor, get some good coaching from high level guys, guys that did it for a long time. I think we're going to be able to make an impact in our youth and make sure that our veterans in the future are just that much more well off. We want to get ahead of the problem.
That's such an important thing is, some people think, well, this is only for retired players. This is for future, current, past players. And I'm guessing there's going to be a quite a buzz when people start hearing about it. Maybe there already is among the membership about, finding out how people can be part of something that is the next wave, the ground floor. Everybody's always saying, oh, if I could have got in then, or this or that. This is an opportunity for a lot of people to learn about something that they probably don't know a lot about, and that's the blockchain and cryptocurrency, the metaverse, which is the future, and this is getting in on kind of the ground floor.
It really is, and again, it was one of the reasons why we're so excited to be partnering with you guys. Is you guys are doing something that's groundbreaking, first of its kind, and it's going to bring value to our members and to the fans, and to really anybody that enjoys baseball. It's going to bring value to them in perpetuity, because you guys have these NFTs that are being made, and one of the awesome things for our community and our members is, guys, you guys can go get your NFT made by UFFS, and it's going to benefit the Association of Professional Ball Players. So that's a really cool opportunity that anybody that's played professional baseball gets to have. And it's just going to be amazing for them, for their children and their children's children and beyond. And so what you guys have built is just really, really exciting, and we're really pumped to be a part.
Yeah, this is some really great news, because unfortunately there's not a lot of great news in the world of baseball right now. Let's be honest. We're listening to people talk about the luxury tax and salaries instead of RBIs, and who's looking good in spring training. So this is going to be some good news, even for those guys that are locked out, which I'm sure you're still in contact with a lot of those guys. They must be frustrated with what's going on right now with Major League Baseball.
Oh yeah, we all are. Nobody wants to be in this situation. the players don't want to be in this situation. The owners don't want to be. Unfortunately, this is, it's just part of it. And I think they're going to get through it fairly soon. We will have baseball this year, I believe. And they just, unfortunately, it's part of it. We got to go through the CBA every 4 or 5 years, and they'll get past it. And then we'll be on to talking about exciting things again.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But in the
on
meantime,
that.
we've got UFFS, and also I want to encourage people to go support your local Little League and go support the youngsters coming up, the local high school teams and junior college teams and college teams. These guys are getting ramped up. They're already starting their seasons, and go enjoy some baseball. At the grassroots while you don't have the access to the MLB.
Yeah, it's such an important part. I live in a part of the world where it seems like snow 9 months of the year, so I can't wait until things melt. I can ride my bike down to the ballpark and watch the little league kids up to the bantam age and things like that, and just sit there on the berm that they have and watch baseball for a few hours, and do think about other
Heck
things
yeah, man,
later.
that's the best.
It really, really is. So let's talk about there you are, some teams that you played on. Some former teammates. Who was the funniest, or a few of the funniest former teammates that you played with?
Oh man, one guy that comes to mind is Scott Feldman. He was just always cracking jokes, always kept it loose, hilarious. He 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 was just always giving nicknames to guys, and for him and Frankie Francisco, I was in the bullpen with both of them with the Rangers, and those two guys going back and forth at each other and messing with the fans and just cracking jokes. They were absolutely hilarious. Another guy that comes to mind is Gerald Laird. Laird won a World Series with the Cardinals. I got to play with him with the Rangers as well as the Braves, and he was just always kept it loose again, and always cracking jokes, always making fun of himself. Real self-deprecating humor. And so yeah, those guys are the ones that come to mind when you talk about jokesters.
Well, and when you talk about jokes, and when we look about your career, you started some games, you also came out of the bullpen in some games. I'd imagine the bullpen nights when you were in the playoffs with Milwaukee were a little bit more focused. But let's talk about like mid-June. Your team's on a bit of a heater, maybe. There's got to be some fun times had in that bullpen with the guys, because you guys are kind of on your own island out there.
Yeah, they throw us all the way out there, behind left field, and tell us to sit there till they call on us. And so, hey, man, we're going to have some fun with it. And so, yeah, the guys will play some pranks. I remember LaTroy Hawkins absolutely loved to bring stink bombs. He thought it was the funniest thing. He'd bring it in, and halfway through the first inning, he'd kind of like throw it behind the bench and step on it, and nobody saw him. And all of a sudden, everybody's like, "Oh my God!" And, just everybody's scattering, and you got to have fun. You got to keep it loose. You don't want to be sitting there. Everybody knows that that phone could ring for them, and you don't want to be sitting there stressing out over who's next. Is it me? So you got to keep it loose, at least for the first few innings, and then like the 6th inning, 7th inning, 8th inning guys, they'll start really going through their routines in the 4th inning. And but those first 2-3 innings of the game, we're usually talking about who knows what, and keeping it loose.
Man, I think there should be a book written, or like I would watch like a live stream of the bullpen camera if there was one, just to see, like, if there was a channel, I would tune into that. I would be watching the game as well, but I just think that there'd be so much fun stuff there. Now, speaking of good stories, we used this when we announced the Panthers, which you're a GM of, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you guys picked the Vlad Guerrero as your division, and you have a unique story when it comes to Vlad Guerrero. You might actually get a chance to draft his son this weekend, but tell us your story about facing Vlad Guerrero.
Yeah, so they called him Vlad the Impaler for a reason, and I wanted to pick him for one of our divisions because I'm like, who's scarier than him? And I say that because when my rookie year, I was facing the Angels, and it was actually my first start in the LA area as a rookie, and so I had like 20 of my family members and 20 of my friends in the stands, and I was cruising, had 8 consecutive outs, and it was winning 2-1 in the 5th inning, and Vladdy comes up, and I throw a nice little sinker down and away, and it was really kind of on the black. It was a really good pitch, but he just stuck those long arms out and smoked it right back up the middle at me, and um, it came back at 100 miles an hour, and I didn't have time to get my glove up, so I had enough time to turn my head about this much. It hit me right here, right off the cheekbone. Kind of, I got lucky. It got a little bit of the hat, and Michael Young caught it for a line drive above his head at shortstop. And so it was actually my 9th consecutive out that I had recorded. And unfortunately, they had to take me out of the game. I wanted to stay. I didn't. I didn't even go down to a knee, to tell you the truth. I did get lucky. I mean, it glanced off of me, and other guys have not been so lucky with Vladdy. In fact, I think about 2 weeks later, he hit Soriano, the pitcher for the Yankees, square in the skull and put him out for a little while. But Vladdy was just known for, smoking that ball right back up the middle at pitchers, and just always, I always enjoyed facing him because he was such a bad ball hitter. And it was just, it's like when you're going over a scouting report with him, guys go, got anything? No, I don't know. Just throw strike to ball pitches the whole time. Try to get ahead with something and then go strike to ball, because he's going to be swinging, and he knows he can hit just about anything, anywhere. So it was always an adventure facing Vladdy. And I will say also, after he hit me in the head, I got to face him about another 7 or 8 times, and he never got another hit off me. And I never went away from him again. I just went sinkers in on his hands from then on. I was like, no way I'm letting you get those long arms extended again. So I got a couple double plays, a strikeout or 2, a couple rollovers. So, but that adrenaline, man, after getting hit in the head by somebody, and the next time you face them, that adrenaline is roaring.
I can only imagine. Yeah, I played goal growing up, but I at least got to wear a mask, so I had a little bit of protection, more than you guys had. I almost think pitchers should get that cage out there, like the pitching instructor gets to use. So anyway, I want to ask you also. I love talking to guys about teammates and things like that. I asked you about the funniest guys. Who is the best baseball player you ever played with on a team?
Oh boy. Just best all around baseball player, huh?
Yeah, you bet.
Man, that's such a hard one. Played with so many talented guys. I can't, I mean, shoot, man, I don't think I can really answer that.
You could pick a couple if you want.
Okay. Pure baseball player, man. I loved playing with Michael Young. Loved playing with him. He just was, he's a smart baseball player. He was a good team leader. He won the batting title one year. He knew the game. And so I would put him, up at the top of my list. Boy, Freddie Freeman, got to play with him with the Braves. He's one heck of a hitter and a heck of a first baseman. Who else? Who else is? I got to pitch to Sandy Alomar Jr. That was pretty awesome for me. He really helped me on a number of levels, and then I got to go over to the coaching side a little bit too, and give a shout out to Oral Hershiser, who was my first pitching coach in the big leagues, and he really helped me a lot. He was just a baseball guru, biomechanics master, and he knew how to help my 6'8", lanky frame get all in sync. And he took me from like 90 miles an hour to 96 in about three months. So I've got to give a shout out to Oral.
The Bulldog, my absolute favorite player of all time, and just I thought that season that he had in '88, just simply incredible. And I love listening to him on games now too. And he is on the games the same way as you broadcast or you talked about him, is very technical and likes to explain things, which is what I wanted to ask you about. When did you know you could pitch, and how did you start developing those skills until you got to maybe college and you had some real good instruction? When was it that you thought, I might be able to make a living out of being a pitcher here?
Yeah, I don't think I really focused on the pro aspect until probably my junior year of high school. I always loved playing baseball. Honestly wasn't all that great of an athlete growing up. I was tall, skinny. I mean, I'm 6'8", 260 right now, but coming out of high school as a senior, I was 6'8", 185 pounds. So I was a beanpole, and it took me a while to grow into my body. But I would say 11 years old, I learned a slider, and I learned a sinker. And I think that's really when I started to fall in love with baseball. I always enjoyed it and always loved, but I kind of got stuck in right field a lot, first base or right field. But then as I grew into my body, I started throwing harder and started getting some recognition from scouts and whatnot. And them saying, hey, you could definitely go play college and there may be a future for you in pro baseball. And I think that's when I really started to take it seriously and really study the game, really work on my body even more, and have my sights then set on professional baseball.
You had a deadly sinker. Did you grip it or throw it differently than others? Was yours more unique? How did you, first of all, how did you perfect it? How did you decide that this is my pitch? And how did you produce it?
You know what? I kind of just always had a natural. I don't know if it's the way that my wrist just naturally, or I've got this one finger that kind of goes all wonky on in. I don't know. I just gripped the two seams and it seemed to sink downwards, and that I got taught that at 11 years old, and then I learned how to use little finger manipulation, whether it's more index and more middle finger, and moving the thumb up and down on the ball to get either more sideways movement or more up and down movement. And so I just kind of began playing with it and developed different types of sinkers. And it was my bread and butter, and it was definitely the reason that I got to have the career that I did. And but it was always it was always kind of natural.
Wow. It seems so unnatural to me. I mean, just to be able to make a ball move with velocity is something that I just envy and very jealous about. Now, I'm also very jealous, even though I'm head of baseball and co-commissioner, and it's a lot of fun. I'm also jealous that I don't get to draft this weekend. What's it like being a GM for the Panthers in UFLB? What do you think the experience will be like with the draft this weekend and right through the season?
Man, I'm doing so much research right now. It is so crazy to be a GM in this league. I feel like a real GM of a real team at times, because I gotta fill a 26-man roster and a 40-man roster. We already went through our amateur draft and picked up some awesome guys. Super excited about picking up lefty Matthew Liberatore. He's personal friend, and just know the guy's got a great future in the big leagues. And I think he's going to make an impact with the St. Louis Cardinals this year. But it's just so in depth with this league that you guys have come up with. We've got to pay attention to luxury tax, and we've got to pay attention to what kind of money this guy is making in his contract on in year one as opposed to year 7. It's going to get really, really interesting, and it's about as real as you can possibly get with fantasy. And I mean, just the fact that there's 30 teams, there's 30 major league teams, and there's 30 teams in this league, which means there's in the normal league where there's like 12 teams, 15, or 14 teams at the most, I think is what I played in. you've got excess players to pick from. In this, you're filling up the entire league, so it's going to get really interesting.
Yeah, and that is the thing, is that you need to know, like most leagues are like 12, 16, things like that. But, and you know what? You have help, though. You have a former teammate that is also dividing up. So how do you and Manny divide up the duties?
Right now we're just kind of doing research and collaborating, and we've kind of got a game plan now. We sat down and looked at the rules and looked at the scoring system, and then kind of came up with a game plan. I think the first few rounds of the draft are going to be pretty easy, but when you get into those middle rounds, later rounds, when you've got guys who are less proven, that you're picking up, and maybe now you spent a whole bunch of money and you're getting close to your salary cap, luxury tax. It's going to get tricky. So right now we're just kind of collaborating. We're going to figure out as the season goes on, just how we divide up time. It's all new to everybody, so it's learning on the fly right now, man.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be an experience. The first year is going to be a lot of figuring out what people like, what they don't, maybe make some tweaks in the off season. And but as you mentioned, it's going to be a fun ride, just like it is with our partnership with you guys. We are really excited to be able to partner with the Association of Professional Ball Players of America, of which you are the president of. We look forward to a flood of players joining us and being able to participate in our platform. Kameron, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you, Dean. Thanks, man. Thank you. I'm doing my research, but I think I probably will need a little bit of luck. I mean, it's fantasy, right?
Exactly. Take care, man.
All right. Thanks, man.
Absolutely terrific stuff from Kameron Loe. You just got to love that Vlad Guerrero story. I mean, he has that name, Vlad the Impaler, for a reason, and he has impaled a few pitchers. Good to see Cameron was able to walk away. If you want to get in touch with us, lots of ways to do it. At the UFLB on Twitter. You can also get us at UFLB_scouting. And if you want to get in touch with the Legends League, it's at the LLB_. So that's another one you can check out on Twitter. Email us info@UFLB@UFFsports.com. If you'd like to get your program on UFSN, send a note to UFSN@UFFsports.com, and the website's UFFsports.com, and UltimateSportsNFTs.com is how you can get in touch with us. All right, let's get to some franchise reveals now. How about the Music City Smash? Dan and Steve Esposito and Mark McGoldrick are the owners, and Mark is the GM. You can give them a follow at UFLB Smash. They're also on Instagram at Music City Smash. And a quick overview of the logo. Dan was in Nashville at the time. He was thinking about buying a franchise. It's his favorite city in America. And the favorite part of the logo is the resemblance to Nashville honky tonk. So very cool stuff there. Let's now move to the Aviators. Spitfire Sports is the ownership group. Dale Hardy is the GM. Nathan Bender is the assistant GM. You can give them a follow on Twitter at Aviators UFLB, and they have a scouting affiliation with Spitfire Scouting. And as for the reason, they went with the Aviators to fit the theme of their overall ownership group, and someone has to fly the Spitfires. The favorite part of the logo is the very cool color combination, and I would agree with that. I think the color combination is awesome. Okay, time now to get to our top five, and today it is my draft predictions for this weekend. So coming in at number 5, I think will be Shohei Ohtani. I thought at one point he was going to go number 1, but sometimes the Angels pitch him every 6 days. Also, he does strike out a lot, and there is the extra injury risk. So I think he actually might slip down the rankings to number 5. And at number 4, Bryce Harper. MVP, just an incredible OPS last year, over 1,000, and certainly no slouch in all other areas. Vlad Guerrero Jr., very, very popular, and I know there are some Canadians in this area that want to try and get this player. So this will be an interesting pick. The Scorpions have the 3rd overall pick. They named their division after a former Blue Jay in Vlad Guerrero. The Panthers have the number 4 pick. They named their division after his father. So we'll see what happens with that. For number 2, I'm going with Mike Trout. Still, I think the GOAT when healthy in baseball. But number 1, for a dynasty league, I think it's going to be Juan Soto. I think, anyway, those are my predictions. You can have yours, and feel free to hit us up on Twitter at the UFLB, where you can chime in on our question of the day. Who will be drafted first in UFLB between these two pitchers? Not first overall, but just between these two pitchers. Walker Buehler of the Dodgers, Corbin Burnes of the Brewers. You can vote at the UFLB on Twitter. You can have your say about who you think will get drafted first between these two pitchers, and then we'll watch for it all to unfold on Saturday as all 30 franchises will be drafting. The draft starts at noon Eastern. We will be putting the links out live. Keep it locked on at the UFLB and right here on UFSN Network to find out exactly how you can watch all of that. All right, that is going to wrap things up for us on the show today. Big thanks to Kameron Loe, president of the Association of Professional Ball Players of America, for getting this partnership done. It is going to be so amazing for everybody. More ball players joining the platform and getting rewarded for their stats and so much more. Awesome. This show, Inside UFLB, is proudly part of Ultimate Fantasy Sports Network, your one-stop fantasy sports shop. If you would like to get your fantasy program on our network, simply send us an email, UFSN@UFFsports.com, and we will get you into the mix and on the program. We'd love to have a chat with you about that. As Crash Davis said, especially for those in the draft this weekend, be cocky and arrogant even when you're getting beat. Good luck to all 30 teams this weekend. We'll recap it all next week. Thanks again to Kameron Loe, and thanks to you for watching and listening. You can find our podcast in audio format wherever you find your favorite shows. Just search Ultimate Fantasy Sports Network, subscribe, give us a like, and leave us a review. Have a great weekend, everybody.